Hello, picture book writers. I'm Pam Calvert, author of many picture books and stories, and welcome to another episode of Picture Book University. 7 top reasons why your picture book is rejected on the first page. Ooh. Since I get about 150 manuscripts over my desk throughout the year because I'm a critique editor, I'm a Rate Your Story judge, I'm a mentor for PB Chat, and if you are looking to join a mentorship program, I would advise going to PB Chat right now. I'm going to list the link below if you haven't heard about it. There's a free mentorship that can happen. It's kind of a contest, so there's a lot of mentors, really famous mentors. Definitely check that out. Since I see these manuscripts over the year, I can really tell by the first page whether or not you are a newbie. And I can guarantee you an editor can see that too, and they just don't have a lot of time. All right, the number one red flag is your page looks very unprofessional. I can't tell you how many times I get unprofessionally formatted manuscripts coming to me. Now, I could understand that maybe, they're thinking, oh, well, she's not an editor, so it doesn't matter. But the reason why there's a format out there anyway is because it's hard to read in any weird fonts, or if it's not double spaced. There's so many reasons for the reason why we want the manuscript set up in a certain way. It's for ease of the people that are reading it. And so if you don't understand the format, I'm going to go over it real quick. Fast forward this if you already know how to set up your manuscript. Okay, so this right here is one of my manuscripts, and make sure you put your name up at the top on the left with your address, phone number, email, all that. And then on the right, we put the word count. Okay, that's just your first page. And then your title goes in all caps right in the middle, by, and that's your pen name. It can be different name from your real name. All right, you must use 12 point, I think it's called 12 point on your height of your words, and Times New Roman or Courier. Please do not use any other font. And you must double space. On the second page, just put your last name and then you put a comma, and then you put the title of your manuscript in all caps, and then you just put the page number. And you need to learn that formatting. I would suggest Microsoft Word. Most editors edit in that. All right, the second big thing, big red flag, is that the person doesn't have a handle on the English language. And I'm not meaning that English is your second language. Now that happens, but I'm talking about you don't really like English. You never excelled at English in your classes all growing up. You despised writing papers. You hated reading literature. You didn't want to have anything to do with books. And you would say you would try not to write anything. Why do you think that you should become a professional writer? Picture books, although they're short, still need to be written with wonderful language, and you have to be very, very skilled in it. And there's some people that are writing that maybe English is their second language and they still understand all of the English mechanics. There's other people that really don't understand grammar. If you don't have a handle on these things, either you don't love it, but I would suggest taking a class on grammar or writing to get your writing up to a level that it needs to be to even start writing picture books. Number 3, this is the first thing you've written, your first story, and you're wanting it published like now. Well, it took me 6 years and over probably 25, 30 stories for me to get that first one. Now, if I gave up after my first story that was written, then you wouldn't see me here. So you have to write your first story, but that doesn't mean you need to submit it for publication. In fact, I'm going to go out there to say, it isn't going to get published. It probably isn't. There's probably a lot of things that you need to learn first before it can get published. But that's okay. You're learning and growing, and you should still keep up and learn more. And so if that first one doesn't work, that's all right. Try again. Now I will see some people will come in to critique with me. They'll pay for a critique. That is their first thing they've ever written. And usually it's not going to be very good. It just isn't. And a lot of times, I will give them ways to go take a picture book class. If you haven't taken a picture book class and you're writing your first story, you got to take that first picture book class. If it's your first picture book and I see it, a lot of times I'll know very well that it's your first, because you will be committing just almost 90% of the time every newbie mistake in the book. And if you want to know some of the newbie mistakes, check out my I think I'm going to put it up here. Check out my other video that talks about the 6 newbie mistakes. Okay, this fourth one is a biggie, a hugie, and we're going to be talking about it with your homework today. It is that the picture book is not unique. That is huge. Your picture book must be different from anything that you've seen out there. And if it isn't, it probably won't get picked up. What are the things? I'm going to be talking about this in another video. There are a lot of topics that I see over and over. And when you see 150 manuscripts, you're going to know what is everybody writing about and what makes it the same all the time. I see a lot of Christmas books, a lot, and it's always about Santa and always about the elves, usually. And unless I see a totally different take, I'm probably, the editors are not going to look at it. Now, another books that I see a lot of are tooth fairy books. Tooth fairy books, over and over again. How many tooth fairy books do you see published? Maybe that's why there's so many, because everybody's like, well, why aren't there more tooth fairy picture books? Probably because it's pretty cliche. And if something gets real trite and cliche and you don't have an interesting new super spin on it, it just falls flat. Another overly done is new baby, new sister, new school, moving. Those kinds of picture books have been done to death. And unless you've got some crazy new idea, like I think I've seen some dinosaur books like that, but it has to be very, very unique. And otherwise, when it's just Johnny suffering from, he's crying because things didn't go well at school, then it's just boring. Unless it can be like Lily's Purple Plastic Purse, but Kevin Henkes put a huge new spin on the school day, and he did it well. And he used a lot of other things other than just that story plot, because if you just looked at the story plot, a little girl gets a purple plastic purse and she wants to go to show and tell, and she gets in trouble by the teacher. That doesn't sound unique. It's the way he tells the story, and we're going to go over that kind of thing later. My latest books, Brianna Bright got swiped up the first time out, and it's because she was so unique. She's a ballerina knight. There are no ballerina knights. There still are no ballerina knights, and so she was very, very unique. This fifth one is a biggie, and that is your word count is way off. Now, the word count, the sweet spot is 500 words. You really need to stick to it, or try to stick to it. And do not use illustration notes to try to shore up your words. If your book can't handle that word count, then you might not have a picture book. You can go up to 650 words. I've seen that. My book sometimes will go up to 600 words. But once you have a handle on rhythm and having catchy lines in your story, you don't need, and you understand story structure, you really don't need to have that many words. Okay, the sixth one red flag is that you've never had it critiqued. And I can tell if you've had it critiqued or not pretty quickly is if there's a lot of grammatical errors, if the plot is not focused, if there's just too much going on. Either you haven't had it critiqued or your critique group, no one really understands picture books. I've seen that happen. Usually if that happens, you probably aren't getting it critiqued. So definitely need to remedy that. You need to join the SEBWI. If you don't know what that is, it's a Society for Children's Book Writers and Illustrators, and they can get you on your way to finding a critique group. They have a message board where you can call for, hey, I need a critique group, and there'll be somebody to help you out there. Also, I got my first critique group by joining a picture book class. There's a really good one that I'm going to post down below, and that's how I met people, is in that critique group. So definitely get involved, go to conferences, and find people so that you can get your work critiqued. If you've gotten your critique group and you've had it critiqued and you want to send it out after it's been put through a critique group, that's when you might want to hire a professional editor to critique your work, because you want it to be the best it can be before it goes out there into a sea of a lot of professionally talented authors, because you're not only vying for an editor's attention with just other newbie writers, you're also going against established picture book writers. And you have to have something just stellar out there. So you really, really need to have your picture book up to its best potential. If you wanted to have me critique it, then just have to jump down to my picture book critiquing website, and I will list the link below, and it'll give you all the information on how that can be done. And number 7 is that it's apparent you just haven't been reading any picture books ever in your life, and you just had a great idea for a picture book and you thought you would just write it down and send it on out there. Well, it just doesn't work like that. You really need to know what you're doing when you are writing picture books. You must study. I mean, professionals are professionals for a reason. They've studied, they've honed their craft. They know how to produce a picture book. And it's not an easy thing. So I can tell if somebody has never read a picture book. In fact, one picture book that I read, I couldn't believe it. It was about a chicken, like a rooster, killing a bunch of squirrels, and there was blood and guts everywhere. I mean, I was really shocked. And let me just say, there are other picture books that were like that too that I've read. And I think that people are trying to be funny, but violence is not funny, people. And you're not going to get published if you have a bloody, murdering picture book. If there's death and destruction going on in your picture book, it's not going to sell. So know the market. Read a bunch of picture books. And that brings us into our homework edition. So for the homework, I need for you to check out 10 picture books this time, 10 picture books. And hopefully your libraries are a little available. I think almost every library has an online portal these days. And so get 10 of them. And I want you to find books from maybe an author that you know, that you love, and look at their very first picture book, the picture book that got them started, and see how they broke into the market. And I really would like for you to look at author-only picture books, not author-illustrator picture books, because in my opinion, author-illustrator picture books are they have to do well based on the story alone, because it's not their fabulous pictures selling the book. It is the story, and it's captivating storytelling, and that's what you want to study. Author-illustrators can get away with things that author-only people can't get away with. So you need to be studying the author only. what made their books unique. What was it about their book that served something in the market? Back in the day, The Kiss of Death was an inanimate object talking. Nowadays, that is like the big thing. So you can get away with that now. Check and see what hit in the market for that particular author and see why they were picked up. Now look at your WIP and see if your book has been done before. What makes yours very unique? You know, something that somebody would want. All right. Well, that's it for today. Please like, subscribe, tell others about the Picture Book University if you've been getting anything out of it. And also, if you have been working on your WIP and you want me to look at it and talk about what you've been doing, the before and then the after. So shoot me 2 pages of the before and 2 pages of the after. And if, I'm getting a lot of them, so if yours comes up, I'll let you know. You can send it to pbuniversity100@gmail.com and I'll be able to let you know what you did and maybe something that you need to work on Friday's video. So anyway, thanks for watching and I'll see you on Friday.